Hey there, a year ago, MCPs started to give AI chatbots superpowers, but it's still a relatively new standard and it has problems. And recently, one of them got solved. My name is Eduard and I am CEO of Desktop Commander, one of pretty popular MCPs. And today I want to speak with you about MCP Apps or MCP-UI, how it was known before. Now, what are MCPs? They're a Model Context Protocol, and it's a standard that is by now older than a year. And what a year has it been? In a sense that by now SDK for it was downloaded 97 million times. There are over 10,000 active MCP servers. 5 major applications support them, but there are dozens and dozens and dozens of smaller ones that support MCP tools as well. So why is this important? Why does it blow up so far? Well, because MCPs kind of give the chatbots superpowers. Or in reality, the way I would like to put it is that they give them hands, in a sense that we are progressing kind of like from chats that chat to agentic tools that execute things on your behalf to full-on agents and AI employees. And MCPs are there in the middle. They gave hands to the chatbots. So now that they can read files, they can query databases, they can act in ways that ChatGPT couldn't before. It's new standard, it's still only a year old, so there are a lot of things that it can do and it does have problems. And today I want to speak about one of the problems. From our side in Desktop Commander, we know that for most MCPs, 20 to 80% of users that install them end up calling tools from 0 to 1 time, which is a problem. Why does this happen? Partially it happens because developers of MCPs have zero UI and UX control. For example, if today you would use Desktop Commander MCP in Claude and ask it to edit your article that is maybe in Markdown, maybe in HTML, and add a link to it, it would look like something like this, where you're asking to add a link, and the response is, I edited the block, done, fixed. What? Where? What happened? Like seriously. Why does this happen? Well, because the MCP protocol and LLMs, they take input as text and they output text. Sometimes you can get images, but otherwise there is text in, text out. And when you send from your MCP something like a chart data, then you do not have a control to make the chatbot to show a chart. You can prompt it, data will go into the chat, it will eat your context, and it will be not reliable. With prompts, you can try to force it to show a chart if the provider, the chat interface, has the ability to show a chart. So the way it's going to work is that you output data for a chart, LLM decides to draw a chart, now it generates, again, code, wastes time, wastes token, wastes money, and shows you a chart, and it's unreliable. This is how MCPs work today from the standpoint of UI and UX. And why is this important? Well, here I want to tell a story from my background. I worked for a long time in Infogram and Prezi, companies whose purpose is to help people with visual communication. And here is Alisa, one of the Infogram co-founders. And the way she always told what we are doing was that we help people communicate, and usually picture is worth 1,000 words. And the way she was illustrating that, she was showing a wall of text on the left, describing some kind of data and situation, and a chart on the right. For the wall of text on the left, you would need to read it to understand, while for the chart, usually for a good chart, you immediately grasp the data and the implication, because it visually shows the story. This is why images are worth 1,000 words. And this is very relevant for MCPs, because MCPs only return text, and often chatbots decide to show what MCPs did as wall of text that users do not read. So what is the solution? Well, today it's now known as MCP Apps, and it's part of the official standard. But it started last summer as MCP-UI in 2025. And it was started not by some kind of big corpse. It was started by 2 guys, Ido and Liad, as an open source fork of official MCP standard that allowed the MCP servers to send UI elements to MCP clients. And when they did that, they started to get support from the likes of Shopify and Block. Block, the creator of Goose, an open source chatbot and MCP client. So it started to snowball from there. In August, there was MCP Night 2.0 in San Francisco, where there were 700 engineers present from companies like Anthropic, OpenAI, Notion, Block, and others. Reception was pretty good, but something happened in September. OpenAI announced their ChatGPT apps, which Ido, looking into, saw that it's a layer of MCPs with additional stuff from OpenAI on top that is custom to OpenAI and does something very similar to MCP-UI or MCP Apps. He was spooked that it will fragment the ecosystem. And I mean, OpenAI is a giant. ChatGPT has 900 million users. They could choose that it's our way or highway and like use our proprietary standard instead. But Ido reached out, spoke with people behind ChatGPT apps, and they calmed him down. They said, no, we just need to release this, but as the standard is ready, we're gonna fully switch to open version. And since then, Anthropic, OpenAI, Microsoft, and MCP-UI team worked together to create a proposal. SAP 1865 came in November. Just imagine, enemies that do not see eye to an eye worked on a common standard so that everyone can have good UIs in their AI assistants. So by January 26, less than a month ago, it launched in Claude, ChatGPT, VS Code, Goose as clients, and many MCPs already support it, such as Figma, Asana, Slack, Canva, Box, and others. MCPs now have user experience. And if you want to learn more, there is a syntax podcast with Dodds discussing all of that in greater detail. But one quote I want to use from him that I really loved from that podcast was that for the last couple of years, due to ChatGPT, everybody was trying to put chatbots into their applications. But now, with this new standard, we can start putting applications into our chatbots instead. As for me, the way I look at this is that if images are worth thousands of words, then good UI and UX experience is worth 10,000 words. This is by how much more valuable MCPs are gonna get this year due to this standard. So, for that reason, we at Desktop Commander are starting to roll out our own UI elements. And in version 0.236 that we released last week in the first half of February, we already have our first widget. Before, when reading local files with Desktop Commander, the responses were text, and you couldn't see much in the response. But what we did is we shipped our first feature to experiment and see the reception, where now, when you are reading a file, especially markdown files, you will see UI in the chat that is usually collab, but you can open it up. You can open the folder where the file is. You can copy the file content if you want with one click. It shows you where the file is, and in case of HTML and Markdown, we render it in very good and readable format. And we support other things as well. Let's actually do a demo. So here is UI of Claude, and we have in it installed a Desktop Commander of latest version, and we can ask it to read this Markdown file. Usually, you would only see the raw format inside, and that would be it. But now you can see that it's adding a preview, and it's collapsed. This is how we wanted it to be for now, because we don't want it to be disrupting. But you can open it. And when you do, you see a rendered Markdown. You can open the folder, you can copy it. You can copy it like this, back into the chat if you want to, or to other application. You can see the path, you can see the rendered Markdown, and you can collapse it back. And here you can see how would you usually see it before. You would just get this wall of text that is formatted, but doesn't see, like it's only a summary. Now you have an option to see the whole thing. And there is one more feature in there, but I will show you a bit later when we discuss what other things the MCP UIs can do. Otherwise, we still plan to add more feature to this, like ability to edit, write in chat together with AI, and do some other things. What other things? Well, let's take a look at how it actually works. Firstly, MCP apps return HTML UI, not from the web, but from the MCP server itself. And they return it as a resource. MCP servers already had a standard ability to return resources, but this is a new special kind of resource that LLM itself doesn't use. The host client uses it. So it's a resource that is returned, host application can render, but chat itself doesn't see. Why this is important? Because it saves context. Those widgets do not share any kind of context with LLM until they choose so, and it allows creators of MCP servers to be more efficient in terms of using LLM's context. So it's faster and cheaper than before. They are also sandboxed in a sense that no code in your widget can access the host application, plus there is content security policy applied that you have control over that defines whether these widgets can load third-party code from the web or not. Otherwise, they do communicate the host application, the server, and the widget. They communicate through bidirectional JSON RPC like before. And what it allows the widgets to do is that it allows them to call tools on MCP server. So you can ask from the widget to your set of tools, ask something and render again. So it can be dynamic. What's also interesting is that you can now mark those tools as for UI only. What this means is that LLM will not know about those tools and it will not pollute the context. Still, those widgets can communicate with the host application itself too. They can send messages to it, kind of to the chat. But as we will see in a moment, it can be implemented in different ways, and I'm not sure that implementation today is the best. Another very interesting feature is ability to update model context. This is what I said, that by default, these widgets do not pollute context of the LLM, but those widgets can choose to share some of context with the LLM so that LLM is aware of what is happening in the widget, and it's a very interesting feature. But again, I think the implementation could be slightly better. And there are some other ways in which they integrate, because the host application can communicate to the widget, is it in dark mode or in light mode? By the way, I haven't showed that to you, but it can communicate that, and it can communicate styles so that the widgets are styled according to host application and don't look like some kind of alien visitor in hostile environment. So I will show you that in a moment. But what I also wanted to say and show you is that sadly, UX is still imperfect. Sadly, the host application still have full control of the experience. It's just that they give more opportunity to developers of MCPs to adjust it, but they still limit it, and partially for good reasons. For example, I did mention this ability to send messages into the chat. Today in Claude, this doesn't work like you would expect. Let's take a quick look. Let me move aside the content a bit and get back this share screen. So here we are back in Claude. And here I have an example application from the standard called basic vanilla.js. Let's try to call it. I have a message already here. Let's try to call it and see what it shows. You can see that it shows UI, and that UI has some buttons. One of them is send message. Let's try to send message. What do you expect is going to happen here? For me, expectation was that it's going to actually send a message and LLM will start responding. But let's click. I clicked, nothing's happening, aside from the text is now in the input box. And I need to click submit again so that AI responds. And if I click it the second time, it shows this toast where it says that replace the current text. And I can replace it. I kind of understand why they did it this way, but still, I don't know. That's not a good UX. It almost makes it a useless feature. Now, there is also a second feature that I'm pretty interested in, and we already support it, but it also doesn't work perfectly. But we already support it in our file previews. I can now select this, and you can see that there is a hint. AI can see your selection. So let's ask, what did user select? And see what happens. And we can see that in this case, and not always, there is actually a tool call. LLM context was updated because of this selection, but LLM doesn't know about it until it reads this, the context. And you can see that it now is aware of what was selected, but it still needs to call a tool. Now, for us at Desktop Commander, we are trying to make assistants that are seamless. In that sense, we would prefer, and this is how we're going to implement it in our application, for AI to be aware of what person is doing inside of the widget at all times by default. It doesn't need to do additional tool call. It's present, kind of like sitting side by side with you, seeing what you're doing, so it can use that knowledge to help you. Sadly, in case of Claude, you need to kind of additionally ask it something. In a sense, let's actually try to make a different message here. Let's replace this with shorter version. Will it understand what I'm trying to do here? It doesn't know that I selected something. I need to tell it that I selected something. And you can see that this went and started doing something else. It's not aware that I selected something in the widget until I tell it that I selected something in the widget. I'm sure that they will fix it eventually. I'm pretty sure this is not how it's going to work in our own application, But this is where we are. Let me get the content back. And I showed you how a couple of those things work. The messages don't really work, useless, we didn't even implement them. This sharing of context, we already started implementing it, but as you saw, you need explicitly like ask it to read the context to get it into the chat, which kind of is suboptimal. So basically the situation is that while the standards define what is possible, each host will still decide what and how is possible, and there are still frictions and limitations in how much MCP server creators can affect the UX. But it's in early days, like for the web and like for mobile, it will get better in Claude, in ChatGPT, and in Desktop Commander. In our case, we are the builders. We are building both the MCP and the app. We have unique experience of knowing how it is from both sides and knowing how to make them play well together. We did release our first widget, but we need your feedback. In what kind of situations you saw a wall of text or you saw a lot of tokens going through the LLM where you probably preferred not to? What kind of visual and interactive experiences would you like to have in a chat with Desktop Commander or without? In our case, we're thinking about things like allowing revertible edits right in the chat, ability to edit stuff in the chat together with AI, not only asking AI to edit it, like somewhere it's faster for you to edit, somewhere it's faster to ask AI to do changes. We're also thinking about interactive terminal widgets right in the chat as well. So you can see how AI is controlling the console, but at any point you can copy, paste, and maybe do something in console as well, instead of always asking AI to do something in the console. These are some things that we are thinking from the Desktop Commander perspective, but maybe you have some other ideas or pain points. Share this with us. We are builders and we're going to build it. In that sense, Desktop Commander app is actually now in public beta. I will share link down below, so go there, download it. We are seeking feedback and we will be working and improving it constantly. Today we're already doing 2 releases a week. So it would help us a lot if you interact with us and tell us what you would like us to build and where you would like us to improve your experience with AI assistants running locally on your machine. So if you found any of that interesting and want to contribute, join our Discord, leave issues on our GitHub for MCP, leave comments down below, and if you found this useful, leave likes and share. This helps us a lot. And if you like this kind of content, more of it is coming. So subscribe and see you next time.